It's been a while, and I was able to experience many new life lessons since I was last on here that I find inspire me to continue sharing my journey of healing from the traumas of a few bad heartbreaks. I actually had a friend tell me a while back that I should work on fixing my own attachment issues to an ex prior to trying to help others with their problems in love. And at first, I thought that maybe they were right. You see, when I started this much neglected YouTube channel and my heartbreak coaching business, I was coming from an extremely dark energy. I was upset with people whom I believed had misled me or played with my emotions in the dating and relationship game. And I didn't want anyone else to have to feel the pain that I felt then. So I wanted to create a system for getting over heartbreak faster than you otherwise might without this system. The problem I discovered in my attempt to help others who were going through heartbreak was that there was no one size fits all approach to putting a band-aid on a heartbreak. I learned that each and every heartbreak is in fact different because each relationship is unique and the ending of every relationship is different. This is because no one person is the same. While we all share some of the same, all too human desires, hopes, dreams, fears, and needs, each person is their own unique and very special snowflake self. And no matter how good or how strong a relationship is between two people, every relationship has an end date. If your relationship doesn't break apart for some other reason, if it is able to withstand the tests of time, change, and maybe even distance, it will still end when one or both parties breathe their last breath. And what are the odds of that? Probably slimmer than winning the lottery. But an interesting question considering I haven't run the statistics on that yet. We come into this world alone, and we leave this world alone. What we do in between is up to each individual to choose. Being in a relationship is a choice. And doing the actions necessary to keep that relationship alive and healthy is another choice. Monogamy and commitment are a choice. Choosing which relationship to prioritize is another choice. We all, after all, have many different relationships in our lives. Not just romantic partners, but also family, work colleagues, and friends. There are many choices every day that we get to make about whom to spend our time, energy, and money on and with. Doing what it takes to repair a broken or damaged relationship, or not doing those things, that also is another choice. Sometimes, all it takes to fix a broken relationship is an apology and taking action not to repeat the same mistakes. So many choices and so little time. I may have many of my own problems, both in and out of love, but it is through having such problems and still surviving them that one learns how to be resilient during tough times. We always have a choice on whether or not to take the high road in the situations that arise. There are behaviors that can be learned to improve yourself in every challenge in life. Sometimes it is through making bad choices or choosing the wrong actions and decisions that we get results that teach us that there has to be a better way to do this. Going round trip, back to the beginning of this story. Recently, I was watching a talk by one of my favorite financial experts Jaspreet Singh. And he said that the most successful entrepreneurs start out their businesses through using some very dark energy. And then, as they become successful, that energy becomes more light and they are able to help more people with their mission. Initially, my mission in starting my channel and my life coaching business was to help people who were struggling with the pain of heartbreak and the loneliness that it can bring. Because I didn't want anyone to have to feel the way that I felt. As a coach, I was someone who could listen and also provide insight if wanted or needed. With my channel and blog, I told some parts of some of my life stories. Not so much because I wanted the public to know my dirty laundry, but more because I wanted to be vulnerable and share so that no one else had to feel like they are alone in the pain of heartbreak. You, my friend, if you are still watching this, you are not alone. Heartbreak, after all, happens to everyone at least once in this lifetime, if not many times for many different reasons. For most people, it is a private thing, but it definitely impacts all aspects of their lives for the worse, whether they choose to share the reason for it or not. Being able to survive heartbreak and bounce back stronger than before is imperative to living a healthy, happy, and fulfilling life. Being able to prevent heartbreak is even better. But that takes two people to want it. One person alone is not enough to keep a dying relationship afloat. A relationship, after all, is a set of agreements. When one person stops fulfilling the agreement, problems arise. You can either choose to manage your relationships better or experience the inevitable heartbreak that can occur when a relationship changes or ends. The only true pain in life is separation, after all, and or reality not matching your expectations for it. To be disappointed at all, you must have expected something very much different than what is happening right now. With great expectations come great disappointments. The greater the expectation, the greater the disappointment will be. I don't like this idea because it almost feels like a killer of hope that life could indeed get better. But it is unfortunately very true. For a person who is, like myself, prone to high hopes, idealism, and expectations, there have been many very low disappointments to experience throughout what otherwise could have been a very amazing life, had I not known how I wanted everything to turn out. If a relationship is not working out between two people, we can clearly see, as Sadhguru Guru might say, that most likely you misunderstood the agreement. People are going to do exactly what they want to do. That doesn't apply to what you want them to do. But they are doing exactly what they want to do. This is perhaps the most logical way to look at it. And of course, it is the illogical emotions of love that cause a relationship to be joyful or feel meaningful at all. I find those words helpful though, because if you truly love another person, then you must want for them to be happy. If they are happy with someone else and not with you, then by all means, wish them well. Allow them to move forward with what they want to do. Don't try to make them want what they don't want. Don't try to change them into something that you want them to be. Simply allow them to be that unique snowflake that you fell in love with, even if that means that they melt or blow away. Certainly, when we feel angry at someone whom we love, it can be important to remember that anger is a secondary emotion to feeling sad. Feeling angry has more energy than feeling sad. For that reason, it can feel easier and better to be angry than to be sad about something. However, science shows that being angry is in fact only bad for the person who is feeling angry. It is medically bad for them, as in blood pressure and blood sugar rising bad. As the saying goes, resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Where am I going with all of this? Well, it turns out that a while back, I decided to try a Stefan Speaks method from his book called Healing from Heartbreak. I'm not paid to talk about this by anyone. I'm just sharing my experience and my viewpoint on that book. After watching some of his talks and reading his book, I tried what he recommends to heal from heartbreak. Why heal from heartbreak? Well, they say that if you don't heal from heartbreak, then you will likely bleed all over someone else who never cut you. So I tried Stefan's method, which involves assessing your woundedness. To do that, you write down everything. To do that, you write down everyone who has ever disappointed you during your life, from childhood onwards. What happened and why you felt hurt about it. After that, you narrow down your list to the ones that still cause you pain today. Like, it still hurts when you remember them or what happened. Next, you tell someone about it out loud, even if that means speaking it into the wind. Say it out loud to someone or to nature. I think I read mine out loud to the wind outside, because I didn't really want to tell anyone else about it. Then comes the last part, or the prelude to the last part. You write a letter to each significant person on your list about what happened and how it made you feel. You start out with a rough draft saying everything that you want to say with all of the emotions you want to express. And then you rewrite and edit and write again until you can say it in an authentic way that doesn't say anything mean or rude to the other person, but still expresses what happened and how you felt about it. Take the blame out of your letter and use your interpersonal communication skills here. If you are uncertain how to improve your interpersonal communication skills, then check out my other talk on here titled How to Communicate to Save Your Relationship. Next comes the best part, and probably this is after you have edited your letter 3 or more times. Stefan recommends that you send the letter to the other person via snail mail or possibly email. But snail mail means so much more because few people take the time to bother writing a handwritten letter, which is a dying art today. In fact, I think I even typed my letter and just hand signed it. What can I say? Your handwritten letter means so much more now than it ever has. Then he recommends you send your letter to the other person. Sound intimidating? Well, it was. And I did it. And imagine, I actually felt relieved about 1 week after I mailed one of those letters. I literally felt like the other person had received my message and like we were both released from this guilt. Did they receive or even read my letter? In the end, I will probably never know. But I at least felt better after sending it. The other person who I was still feeling hung up over after 5 years, I had to contact via social media as I did not have an address for them or a working email address. Believe me, I tried. This was rather challenging because we had both blocked each other a long time ago on everything. In fact, I think I had to use my business account in order to send the message. Well, I must say that in this case, I didn't expect a response or anything positive to come from my contact attempt. I was pleasantly surprised to have them reach back out to me almost immediately. We had what I would call a very good and long conversation catching up on all the things that had happened in each other's lives since we'd last spoken. It felt good to reconnect and to see that while we may have had a terribly bad and mutually dramatic ending, we both still cared about each other and wanted each other to be happy, even if that didn't mean being happy together. And that conversation, I must say, was very healing to have. It changed how I looked at the story of our failed attempt at love. While we may not be together today, we are friends now who still care very much for one another. I think that is a much improved ending from the original tragically separated and no longer speaking one. And it even felt like a new beginning in a way. While there is always a reason behind every ending, not every ending has to be a total loss. Sometimes it is possible to gain a great new friend after giving the separation time and space. Give it that time and space first, though, because most people aren't ready after a really big breakup to start acting like friends immediately afterwards. They need that time to cool down, relearn who they are outside of the relationship, process the whole change. Friendship doesn't happen overnight. So while I initially could not imagine how Stefan's method was going to help me, I did find that it really changed a lot about my past stories, and I recommend reading his book if you are struggling to get over lost loves from many years ago. You see, what I learned from it is that my 2 worst breakups, the ones that ended the most badly, were the ones that I felt the most pain, anger, and guilt over. Those negative emotions didn't free me from those people, but it in fact kept me tied to them, even more than had I never had those bad endings. Which is why the way in which you end a relationship can really impact your ability to move forward after that. Ending in a negative way, where blame is assigned, even if they did something that was ultimately blameworthy, while you try to punish the other person through guilt or cruel words, actually just makes the whole separation thing more painful for all involved. It leaves both people with bad memories and feelings over what was once one of the most beautiful experiences in both people's lives. Yes, the experience of loss. Losing anyone whom you care about, losing love, along with the disappearance of anyone whom you have had any sort of attachment to the dream of a future with, is the most painful thing you can feel. And it might always be a sad memory. Some people, psychologists even, say that if hating your ex helps you to move forward, then this is the best thing for you to do. But I now disagree. Psychologists, after all, are known for going into that field because they are in fact trying to help themselves. Believe me, I know. I wanted to be a psychologist at one point. Yes, it is easier to hate than to love someone who doesn't feel the same way about you. And it is normal to experience feelings of anger during a loss. But that isn't going to change how the other person feels about you. And hate is such a strong emotion that it keeps you giving them as much energy as when you were in love. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is, in fact, indifference. When you lose someone that you love, it's better to really just go straight into the pain of that loss. Tell yourself when you start feeling angry that it is not worth giving your energy away to that other person who doesn't see you the same way that you see them. Conserve your energy for yourself and refocus that into your professional life goals, your friends, and your family. Do something with that energy that is good for the other aspects of your life. As Matthew Hussey would say, when your life falls apart in the area of love, make sure that your life is succeeding on all other cylinders. Improve your work life, health and fitness, your friendships, your family relationships, hobbies, and any other part of your life. That way, at least when everything else is going right in your life, you will be a perfect package for when you do align with someone else who feels mutually about you. Don't direct your anger caused by your hurt feelings at another person who is only doing exactly what they want to do at this moment. Remind yourself of the good memories and times that you shared with that other person. Be thankful for them and whatever you can learn from it. Refocus your attention on what's next for you without them. Mourn the loss because it is normal to be sad when we lose anything that we love or care about. Tell yourself that what you're feeling is normal, and know that with time, all feelings will change. Things will be better in the future if you don't express angry words now with the person whom you love for choosing another path which did not include you. Even though you may want very much for them to choose you, remember that they are doing exactly what they want to do. If you really love them, then you will want them to be happy, even if that means not being with you. And that is how you can love and let go.